NASA to you and me.
Sorry. Yeah, it happens.
I'm be working hardcore on my posture during this episode because if I lean back,
I know. I try to do the same thing because I gotta
what's up? What you got?
sink it into the couch. That's better.
Oh, the lie. That's hilarious. See, this is what doctors do. They slouch on their couch and they drink whiskey and make jokes. It's hard knowing what you see.
Just like everybody else.
Right. Literally just like everybody else.
Yeah. Yeah. So we're live. I figured we'll chat for a couple minutes and then we can dive into it at 6:30. So.
Cool beans.
What was your presentation? What were you doing?
Huh?
Were you were giving a presentation, or you're in Tennessee for a reason, right?
Oh no, I'm like, was I supposed to give a presentation?
Where am I?
I'm like, all right, this will be fun. Dude, the last time someone told me I had to do a presentation and didn't know, I was an undergrad, so I got up and talked for 40 minutes about Batman because I didn't know. It was awesome. I got an A on the presentation. I failed everything else. It was 8 a.m. and I literally got up and was like, "Oh, it's my day.
It's due today." Oh no! Oh no!
No, I kept the office here, so I see patients in Memphis once a month.
Oh, okay. All right. Cool. That's my geography is terrible. How is that a drive? Do you drive or do you fly?
Wow.
You fly? Okay.
Your geography is way off.
It's terrible. No, I know. As soon as you get like south of Delaware, it's just the South, and I don't care.
That's probably technically where the Mason-Dixon line is, somewhere. And maybe, I don't know. Mine's not as good either. But no, you fly. It's a 2.5
You will. I don't know if I've ever told you this story, but it made me like super, super proud, and it was because of Christy.
That's my wife.
Yeah, for anyone who's watching, if there's anyone yet. So when I went back up to New Jersey, my family went on a Alaskan cruise for like my grandfather's birthday, and it was during the summer or whatever. So I believe we were in Juneau, and we were walking around this museum, tiny little place, and there's this woman who's like the hostess or curator or whatever they're called, with this thick Southern accent. And there's this creep who's like hitting on her and like, just, oh, you're from the South, blah, blah, blah. Where are you from? Alabama, blah, blah, blah. And she's just like, no. And like walking by, I was just like, you're from Tennessee. And she's like, how did you know? Because she sounded exactly like your wife. And I just walked away.
She's like, my God, the man of my dreams just walked past me.
Anywho, getting a little bit on topic. So today we wanted to talk about, start off with patients, right? So, and not the ones that you see in your office. Patients as in waiting, having some patients, that kind of stuff. And I think it's a great thing to talk about because it literally applies to every aspect of life, whether that be your health or whether that be training, or being a parent, or whatever, building a business, etc. And it's at least, and I'll always come back to the training aspect of it. For those of you who may not know, I was a personal trainer for a period of time. I was a training manager for a period of time. As of right now, I'm a health and physical education teacher. Trust me, for myself, having patients is a wonderful thing. But that's always the hardest thing, at least for me, that I found to preach to clients, who had these goals. And, especially in our society, everyone wants, success now. We want it now. We want it yesterday. We don't even want to work for it. It just, it's owed to us for some reason. And that's not how anything works, like, ever. It's not how fitness works. It's not how health works. It's not how parenting works. It's not how teaching works. It's not how anything works. So for me, that was always, and I always knew at some point, because, January, we'll say January 1st, you get your New Year's resolutioners who are coming into the gym. And if you're a personal trainer, it's like cherry picking. Like, you sell so much personal training that first like 2-3 weeks of January, you're like, oh, I can make a living off this. And inevitably, within a month or two, people start getting frustrated because it's not as easy as, just hopping into the gym and working out a little bit. There are setbacks there. You have to work for it. It's tough, especially if, training is not your life. You're a parent, you have kids get sick, kids get hurt. You have to miss appointments, blah, blah, blah. And trust me, most of you, who do go to a gym, who are coming, to see a personal trainer, you're probably doing it after work. So you're burnt out. You probably just want to, go home and have a glass of scotch. It's the gym is probably the last place you want to be. So I always knew inevitably, you sign up 10 of those clients, January 1st. By, February 15th, you probably lost half of them just because, this isn't what I thought. It's too hard, blah, blah, blah. Like, yeah, there's always an excuse. And again, look, I'm not trying to, bash anyone who may have quit personal training. It happens. But that's the thing. And so that's kind of like where our jumping off point was, just talking about patience and I guess how it applies to, your training, your health, your wellness, whatever. So if you want to take on from here.
Yeah. So I have no problem bashing people because I'm going to be completely unapologetic because that's what the world needs right now. So that's that. But besides the fact that it can transition into every aspect of your life and will transition into every aspect of your life, people who know me closely know that I have none. I have no patience. I want to do it right now. I want to do it 100%. Like, if I'm doing something, if I'm watching TV, I'm watching TV 100%. If I'm on this podcast, we're doing it 100%. Like, don't talk to me, right? Like, that's what it is. So I expect results to come very fast. So it was hard for me to learn, and then in the office, just talking, like, I get really good results, and that's just what it is, right? I've never advertised. Everything's come from referrals. A lot of times those referrals are, hey, 1 or 2 visits, everything was kind of better. So when I see somebody who 4 times or 5 times before they've had these insane marked results, they're like, well, what's going on? I'm like, well, let's manage these expectations. We've had this 30, 40, 50 years.
Sure.
You've seen literally everybody because I'm the last person you come to. It's just the nature of it, right? I'm the last guy that's like, oh, my goodness, can I be helped? With maybe someday that narrative is going to change. But in that whole thing, so I have to explain, right? Look, this is a process. You didn't get to where you are overnight. We have to undo this. So in that world, and because we're kind of talking more strength and fitness, we'll talk in the training realm of, and last time we talked about adaptability. So
sure.
Patience, a good example of patience is, and we just had this conversation the other day, or a couple of days ago. So I'm real big on innately understanding things. Like, listen to our podcast, but then question everything, right? So our last podcast, we covered a ton of stuff.
Sure.
If there's something, I'm going to encourage people that if there's something, leave comments, because there's probably 10 things we cover in there that could be hour, 2 hour, 3 hour, 4 hour conversations that we would love to have. But if you want more information, let's dive into it that way. But don't just take our word for it. Go do it. How I know all this stuff works is because I put it up to the test. Do I feel better? Don't I feel better? How does all this work? I almost wish they would take all mirrors out of the gym. And I say that at the same time because I'll do an exercise and I go based off how I innately feel with that, like a squat or a deadlift. Does this feel good? Am I getting stronger? Do I feel weak? Are the right muscles sore? Are they not sore? How is this going? And I generally deadlift with 135, 155 at most. Now I do send Len, to be perfectly honest, right? I do send you pictures or videos of my deadlift now and then because I'm like, all right, can I enhance this? Can I make my squat better, right?
Yeah, there's always room to get another set of eyes, and look, I've worked with other trainers too. Like when I was, again, like I said, I'm not working in a gym currently. I'm a phys ed teacher, but when I was working in a gym, every time I was working out, I was grabbing a trainer who was off duty. Hey, watch this. Like, give me some tips. Well, look, there's always room for improvement. So,
right. And so in that, it's like, okay, I'm building this foundation, right, that we talked about before. You're putting money in the bank account, right? We're going to keep coming back to that. So I'm putting money in the bank account. In the squats that I was doing, right, earlier this week, felt amazing. Felt great. So I'm like, all right, let me show this to Len. Let's see where I'm at. So I show it to you, and you're like, well, you're lifting your heel up just a millimeter. And I'm like, he's out of his mind. My heel up just a millimeter. So I'm like going back, I'm zooming in. I'm like, damn it, I'm lifting it up a millimeter, right? It's like, all right. So then I go back and I redo it without the lift, and I feel the difference. It feels natural. It feels good, right? So I'm always looking to advance that. But the patience of that pays off. And now I'm going to explain why the patience of that pays off. So I don't throw around heavy weight anymore. I'm really good at it. I can do it fairly well, right? I've worked out with you before, but
Sure.
I don't need to because I know inside that I can handle it if it happens, right? So I'm at the gym the other day and I see guys deadlifting 405, and it's just like, see your back, see your lumbars, like this is not good. Reinforcing what we talked about before, bad neurological patterns, right? Because they have to get this 405 mark for ego or whatever that
I was going to say,
is.
this is something we like to call in the industry ego lifting.
So now, by putting money into the bank like I have over the last year or 2 years or 5 years or 10 years, really, I mean, like, let's just say when we started working out together, right?
Sure.
Putting money in the bank account, I can afford to have some ego lifts. So I was in a place about 6 or 7 months ago, maybe a little bit longer, I don't know, we'll say 8 months ago, where people were deadlifting a lot of weight. And I'm like, let me just get in on this because I'm an alpha male and I want to establish my dominance and this should be fun, right? So I basically dry deadlifted 405 and then went right to 500 and deadlifted it. No problem. No injuries, nothing. Because I had patience for years to put the effort in to build a foundation that could handle whatever I asked it to handle. If I want to go hiking, I can go hiking. If I want to bench, I can bench. If I want to deadlift 500 pounds, I can do it without having to take too much money out of the bank to create a long-term sustainable injury to myself. So patience is literally everything, and you will see your body change. But we live in a society today where, like you said, highlight reels are highlighted. You got to be able to be the NFL running back, whatever. I don't want to skip or take the time to do this. And here's the kicker, because it goes back to what we talked about before. A lot of these people that you view as amazing and elite and whatever, they're getting injured. They didn't get the time either, right? They never built the foundation either. And it is a humbling experience to stand there with a 3-pound dumbbell and hold your arm out to the side like this for 5 minutes and shake and take everything you can do to figure out how to transfer energy across the joint without injuring it and activate your feet. Like, you're not doing this for 5 minutes without your toes being exhausted at the end.
Yeah, you're feeling it everywhere.
Everywhere, right? So you build this foundation, you have to have patience. And I think the biggest foundation of patience and the most important thing is that we don't talk about enough that health, like everything, freedom, whatever you want to talk about, is a responsibility. It is your responsibility to become healthy. It is not my responsibility to make you healthy, to talk you into becoming healthy, to figure it out for you. It is your responsibility to be healthy. The same way it is my responsibility to pay rent, right? So I don't go, like, we're seeing this all over the country right now. Like Sean Whalen, who's awesome. If you guys don't follow Sean Whalen, you probably should. He's hilarious. So he just posted a picture. I don't even have social media, and I got the picture sent to me because that's how funny it was. And it's this sloppy person in one of those wheelchairs, and they got the mask on, and they're like 400 pounds overweight, and they have all this stuff going on. And then he's standing there, and he's like shirtless, and he's ripped as shit, and he's in great shape, and he does all this stuff. And it's the person is there like, you should have a mask on to protect me. Whoa, whoa, whoa. So your health now, you're trying to make it my responsibility. And I'm using this because it is a charged topic, and that's perfectly okay. So because you've made the wrong choices for 20, 30, 40, 50 years and didn't put the work in, I did, I have to suffer the consequences for that? That does not make sense to me. That is the same way of me walking up to that person and saying, hey, you need to pay my rent this month because I just kind of don't want to do it. So if you could write me a check for $1,600, that'd be great. And then we could just go about our day. And then, maybe next month I'll come back. And you can just write that check again for me, because I don't want to put the responsibility in of going to work, waking up at 5 a.m, doing this, providing for my family. Health is absolutely no different. And again, like I ended the last podcast with, this is the first time in history, recent history, where we've had to answer for all of our life choices right now. If you did not put time in, if you did not have patience, if you did not live the life that you should and treat your body the right way, COVID's here and it's going to suck for you, period. Right? And that's a harsh reality, and it might sound morbid, but the fact of the matter is healthy people don't die from COVID. And I don't know if we talked about this last time or you and I have talked about it before, but let's just say, the news, right? They want to tell you, a healthy person in their 30s died from COVID. Bullshit. Doesn't happen. It's literally an impossibility, because your nervous system and your immune system deploy and end that situation if you're healthy. If you're not healthy, then yes, you can be succumbed to COVID or pneumonia or strep throat or cancer, or throw any number of words out there. You can become susceptible to that. And the point of this whole thing is let's say they tell you that someone died because or say they were healthy. Well, how do I know they didn't take ibuprofen the other day? Well, if I take ibuprofen, I massively suppress my immune response. Well, if I massively suppress my immune response, I've hindered my ability to fight off whatever disease this is. So the whole point, again, right, we come back to adaptability, we come back to health of the host, we come back to that health being your absolute responsibility, and you having to have patience with it. Now, I understand that there's ups and downs with that patience. Look, if you think that I've worked out every day from the time we were together until now, you're out of your mind. I had boards. There was an entire time of my life where I ate nothing but Sour Patch Kids and coffee for 5 weeks. I slept 3 hours a night for 5 weeks. My dog was so stressed out that I was stressed out. He slept on my head, and he's a 70-pound black lab. He slept on my head, because I was so stressed. So, but again, I built the foundation. I built the adaptability to take myself into this stress state that I could grow and adapt and change in a massive way. You can't do that if you don't lay the foundation. The foundation is so unbelievably important. That's where you have to have patience. And I promise you that if you just have enough for a couple of weeks and you do the right things, you will see insane results. Now, it's not for everybody. How you and I train is not for everybody. That's okay. But you have to just put one foot in front of the other and try something, right? It's the same that you and I have probably talked about before.
Well, yeah, one of the biggest conversations that I've always had with, clients, friends, family, whatever, is when it comes to, health, training, XYZ, no one can want it for you. Like, you have to want it for yourself. Anyone can push you in that direction. We can say, hey, look, you need to do this. You need to get to the gym. You need to eat better. You need to sleep better, whatever. But if you're not going to do it, you're not going to do it. And no one's going to make you do it. It needs to be a conscious decision. And I think that's the jump off point. Like, it has to be. It's that decision to say, I want this. I want this for me and for no one else. Right.
And, it's interesting. It's like let's say someone's in that state, right? Let's say you're 250 pounds overweight, you're wherever you're at. You have to logically think about this in a way that no one's ever presented it to you. You're okay with being sick and miserable and tired and lethargic and feeling like shit and living this cycle every day, but you're not okay with getting up and feeling uncomfortable in the gym for 45 minutes? Like, both of them are going to be uncomfortable. But which one is going to add to your life, right? Like, you're living
elevate quality of life, yeah.
Exactly. So you can make that choice. And if you don't want to, that's completely okay. But then we have to have the conversation of, then you're going to reap that reward at the end. No matter what you do, you're sowing seeds into life, right? There's a huge field, and that is going to flourish into whatever you put in it, right? Every time you do something, you work out correctly, you put a seed in that field. You have a positive mindset, you put a seed in that field. You have a negative mindset, you put a seed in that field. And it's going to grow. You can plant shitty seeds in the field and they're going to grow, right? You see them all the time with Monsanto. Shitty seeds, they grow, right? Or you can plant organic ones and it's going to grow. That soil doesn't care what gets planted. It's going to make it grow. That's your mind. That's your subconscious. It's going to grow whatever you plant every single day, period.
Yeah, and again, it ties into even your bank, metaphor with the putting some money in, take a little out, put more in, take a little out. You wake up. For me, I wake up at 4:30 in the morning. I do a little work on my YouTube side. I know it's insane. Do a little work. Do a little work on my YouTube stuff. I hear my fiance's alarm go off at 5:45, and then we're in the garage throwing some weights around for an hour, and then we go for a walk or something. It's an hour and a half, 2 hours out of my day that it's. Yeah. Is it uncomfortable? Yes. Am I one of the crazy ones that I enjoy doing it? Yes. But now it's out of the way. I don't have to worry about it the rest of the day. And two, when I come home, I shower, hop on the laptop, and I'm doing my virtual teaching that I'm doing right now. I have so much energy, and I feel fresh and ready to go. Yeah, man. It all comes down to the patience. Patience, discipline, whatever word you want to throw in there. The first week that I decided that I need to start getting up early and doing this, because I knew I started waking up at 4 a.m. to work out when I first started teaching this September, this school year, because I was driving an hour back and forth to get to school, and I knew after 3 p.m. driving an hour back, so now it's at least 4 p.m. I'm driving right by the gym and I'm going home.
100%.
There's no way I'm getting my ass out of the car and moving some stuff around for an hour, 45 minutes. So I had to take a step back, kind of gather all my eggs and say, all right, how am I going to make this work? So I said, I got to do it before. That's the only time I'm going to be able to do it.
Yep.
And look, did that first week suck?
Yep.
Yeah, of course it did.
You still suck now.
When I was
the process, you're in love with the result.
Yeah, but you know what? And I'll say you're wrong there, because at this point in time, I am awake. Even if I don't set an alarm, I'm awake at the latest is 5:30, and I'm up. And it's just now my body clock has adjusted, and that's just where I'm at now. And honestly, I don't know if I'll ever go back. Because to me, if there's that odd weekend where maybe I wake up and it's 7, I feel like I should just stay in bed all day, because I think the day's over. I might as well just stay. We'll start over tomorrow.
Yep.
But it's true, and it comes back to waking up early. It gives you. So let's say if I had to be at work at 8, let's say I had to leave an hour early, so 7, maybe 6:30 to give myself a little wiggle room with traffic. Takes me an hour to get ready. So, whatever. I'm waking up at 5:36 to get to work at 8. Now, if I'm waking up at 4, that's 2 hours that I now have that I can be productive, and I can do. I can create a YouTube channel. I can plan my videos, or I can do work for school that day, in the morning, and it's uninterrupted because I don't have to. No one's texting me at 4 o'clock in the morning. I guarantee you that. Because you've even texted me back, and you're just like, why the hell are you texting me at 4:15 in the morning? I was just like, I'm sorry, I don't even realize what time it is anymore.
Yeah.
But it's 2 or 3 free hours that I have to do whatever I want, whether that's workout, whether that's work on something, whether it's just meditate, learn piano, read a book. It's just more time for me to be productive and to work on me.
And not only more time, it's clear time, which is very important. So if anybody listening pays attention very carefully, if you can structure your morning to where you're not rushed and you have time to just be calm, you will have a mental clarity and focus that you have never experienced in your entire life for 1 to 2 hours that can make you achieve anything. It's extraordinary. And there's actually a book, I don't even know who wrote it, but Peak Performance talks a ton about this stuff, right? I read it, I don't know, a year or 2 ago.
Sure.
Awesome book about this kind of stuff and studies that are done and all these things. But I think one thing that's important to mention here. So I'm also an early rise. I'm a morning guy. I love mornings. After 8 p.m., 9 p.m., after 9 p.m., I don't want nothing to do with it, right? That's my time. I need to recharge. I need to be with my wife. I need to calm down. I need to get ready for the next day. But that's how I function. That's how you function. That works really well. There are other people. You can be the complete opposite of Len and I. You can
absolutely. And I'm not saying that my way is the only way. No, it's just I know that works for me. And I've always been like an early workout guy.
Right.
Even when I was, personal training, 4, 5, 6 years ago, I knew that, once 3 p.m. rolled around and if I hadn't, worked out, like it probably wasn't going to happen that day. Just because it's the later in the day, the easier it is for me to be like, I just want to go home, man. I just want to go home and I want to relax and I want to not have to worry about it. But, there are those people who thrive at night. And, again, working at gyms, there's that after work crew who comes in. They're right there at 5. And, is there a little bit of a social aspect to it? Absolutely. And then after that crew leaves, they do their work and they leave. There's another late night crew that comes in from like 8 to 10 and they get after it, man. And if that works for you, like fan-freaking-tastic, it won't work for me. I can't do it. Especially now that like I'm in bed by like 8:30 anyway. So.
And but that's an important distinction to make again, because we're talking about adaptability. So what you have to do is you have to take all of these things and you have to figure out, I'm never going to tell you what to do. I don't tell a patient what to do. I simply say, what we're going to do is we're going to unlock, we're going to free the nervous system, we're going to observe that change, and then we're going to go for there. I don't know. Maybe I need to see you once. Maybe I need to see you 20 times. Maybe I need to see you 100 times. I have no idea because I'm not putting you in a box because everybody's unique. Sure. I don't know what diet you need. I don't know what training style you need. You need to figure it out for you. I love bench squat and deadlift, and then I love supplementing that with literally everything Tommy does. Again, Dr. Tommy John, follow him on YouTube. He's amazing. Or whatever. Instagram, I don't know.
Yeah, Instagram, Facebook.
Some of those things. Follow him on one of those things. That's what works for me, but I have gone through trial and error of, does this feel good? Doesn't this feel good? Is it making me better? Is it not making me better? Same with diet, right? Look, I'm not a fan of being a vegan or a vegetarian. For me, okay? If you decide to become a vegan or vegetarian and you feel amazing, well, then you probably should keep doing it. Like it's as simple as that. We have suppressed this innate desire, the wolf within, the warrior within, so much that we don't trust our own instincts. We're like a bunch of herded sheep that are waiting for someone to tell us what to do. I'm not going to tell you what to do. Listen to our podcast, sure, and then go, well, I should maybe try that. See how you feel. If you feel like shit getting up at 4:30 in the morning.
If you hate it, don't do it.
You shouldn't do it, right? But I will tell you this. There is a difference between not wanting to do it and then doing it and feeling good about doing it, because the end result's what really matters. Like, I don't necessarily love standing in a lunge position for 3 minutes and wanting to cry because I hate it. Like, I hate it. Every time I do it, it's miserable. I do it at least 2 or 3 times a week. I hate it. But I love the end result, because the end result is I can walk into a gym with a bunch of meatheads to do nothing but work out and deadlift, which is fine. I was one of them before, and deadlift just as much of them without ever picking it up and injury-free, because I've developed a system and a body that can handle that stress. I love the end result. I love being able to walk in and be that guy unassumingly, or walk around and knowing your 405 that you did once that's cool. It's cool. Like, whatever, call that egotistical. It doesn't matter, because there's a level, right? And so we can even go into that too. This whole suppression of masculinity, the suppression of femininity, the suppression of the ego, not okay. I want people to let that free, let that innate desire free, that desire to win, desire to conquer, desire to step on someone else's throat. Oh my God, please let that happen in your life, because the other is what's making you literally be a sheep and herd towards everybody else. Like, if there's one thing that can come from this and one spark, is for you to just start to listen to that little voice that's trying to talk to you all day, every day. If you pay attention to it, it will guide you through everything. You won't have to read another book. You won't have to ask us how to deadlift or how to move. You will innately know, because you're literally connected to that. That is in you, right? None of our ancestors had to ask how to hunt a lion. They fucking figured it out because they had to survive. I often say the problem with people now is no one's hungry. And I don't mean no one's hungry to become the best or the success. I mean, you're physically not fucking hungry. I have been there. I had to figure out, how am I going to create something that is going to feed a wife and a newborn baby with nothing, right? I was physically fucking hungry. And when you get to a point where you are physically hungry, starve yourself for 2 or 3 days and see what the fuck happens. A side of you is going to come out that you have never experienced before, that is willing to rip throats out of people to accomplish your goals. That's what I want to accomplish, right? That's what I want to awaken in people. No more playing small, right? And maybe this isn't for you, right? That might be too intense. That's okay. But if you listen to that small voice within, you know it's there, right? We all have it. We all have it.
Well, yeah, I think what you're describing is complacency, and I think Americans as a society, we've become very complacent. Whether it's, again, and it applies to everything. Whether it's go to school, graduate college, get a job, live, provide, die. Whether it's work in the gym, whatever. Complacency is the death of creativity. Is the death of achievement.
I love that.
And
I get that tattooed on my other bicep.
And that's I think where people get themselves into trouble is, whether it's complacency, comfort, whatever word you want to use to describe it, is you get comfortable in this little life that you've created for yourself, whether it's, wake up at 7, go to work from 9 to 5, come home, throw on Netflix, have a scotch, go to bed, and then wake up, rinse, repeat. It's just shuffling through life. It's not going out there pushing your body to a certain limit. And again, I'm saying this, and not that anyone needs to go out there with the goal of deadlifting 1,000 pounds. Like, no, you don't have to do that. But there's
Maybe
more.
3 miles. Maybe it's literally putting one foot in front of the other and being like, I'm going to walk this 3 miles until
having some sort of drive.
Yeah.
For something. Well, yeah, and it's different for everyone. I want to be able to walk a mile without taking a break. I want to be able to bench press my body weight. I want to do 100 straight push-ups. I want to be able to sleep through a night without waking up 8, 9 times.
I want to be able to pick my grandson up off the ground.
There you
go. There's so many things that you can tap into to elicit this change, that if you really are honest with yourself, right, like you said, go to work, pay the bills, drink your scotch, come home, whatever. If that person, if I could encourage that person to come home, well, here, I'm not going to let you drink alone. If I could encourage that person to come home, or preferably in the morning, I would love for them to do this in the morning. Come home, and I want you to just sit down, and I want you to draw out, just write what your ideal male or female looks like, right? Because we're just talking from a masculine perspective, but let's talk about a female perspective. Write down the traits, the attributes, what that person has, what a powerful person, what you would have aspired to be maybe when you're 12 or 14 or 16, whatever it is. Write that down and then look at it. You're literally describing what you want yourself to be. So then figure out how to take those steps to become that. Did I lose you?
No, I'm here. I'm ready.
Okay, I don't
Sorry,
know.
I'm sitting still.
No, not you. The whole screen froze. I'm like, So figure out, then look at that and go, all right, look, this guy's well-dressed. He wears a belt. He's got nice shoes. He's got his hair done all the time. He never lets he doesn't let this part grow out. He's always got his beard combed out. Like, literally name everything, right? Like, he stands up straight. He walks. When he goes into a place and he meets the lady at Starbucks, he engages with her. He makes her laugh, or she makes her laugh, or she has a little bit of a conversation. She really knows that person. Then when she walks out, everybody in the room kind of notices who they are. If that's whatever that is for you, right? Like, write that down and go, okay, I'm a goal-seeking organism. That's how I'm literally designed. I have a part of my brain called the reticular activating system that is designed to find goals, seek them, conquer them, and destroy them. The literally only other creature besides a pigeon that has that, but that's a whole nother day, right? So you have this mechanism. Pick one. Be like, all right, you know what I'm going to do? For the next month, I'm going to make sure my hair is cut every single week and I look clean and sharp everywhere I go. All of a sudden, you're going to start to gain confidence because guys are going to see you, right? They're going to look at you. Women are going to look at you. I just flew from Florida to Memphis, and I thought I'd do just kind of a fun little thing for myself. Normally, this is basically what I wear: a shirt like this and a pair of basketball shorts. I'm all about my day with my headphones in, listening to a book or reading a book and going about it. But I'm like, and then I engage with everybody there, right? Like I engage with the stewardess and the pilot and everybody, we talk. So I'm like, I'm going to see how people perceive me if I dress different. So I put on my dress slacks and my dress shirt that fit very well because I sought out a company that literally makes shirts for a physically fit person, right? Belt, shoes, everything. I was treated completely different today. I felt better about myself because I got up at 5 in the morning and I dressed myself very well and I made sure my beard was put together instead of just going about my day. And I had a confidence and a swagger that I'm talking about, right? I engaged with everybody. I felt good. Well, that's the ideal person I want to be. Every person that I meet every day, I want you to feel better because you met me, period, right? I don't even know how we got on this topic. But the whole point is what you want, right?
It started with goals, yeah.
Right,
Study goals.
Study goals. First off, if you want to study goals, study Brian Tracy. Literally throw everyone else's book out. Don't read anything. Don't do anything else. Brian Tracy is he's the OG of goals. If you don't know what OG means, Google it. Is what it is.
I think it's accepted vernacular at this point.
Maybe. I don't have Twitter, so I don't know what people are talking about these days. But the Twittersphere. So listen to Brian Tracy, and we're going to have a whole nother thing on goals. Maybe we'll teach them one day. I think that would be a good thing because we're literally designed to seek them. But figure out what you expect a powerful human being to look like and what to do and how you can take steps to get there. It's very important. Look, if you're 400 pounds, it doesn't matter. I promise you, you can get there with patience. Understand it may take you 10 years. You will radically change yourself. And then from your story of what you've done, you will then change the world from there because everybody that is 400 pounds is going to look at you and go, he did it. I can't do that. I was never there. I don't know that state. But I know without a shadow of a doubt, because there's people that have pulled them out of it, you can pull yourself out of it too. 100%. Find them. Anchor to them. Anchor to something bigger than you, and you will get there, right?
Yeah, and I'm happy you brought it all the way back around into that, the fitness, health kind of thing, because, and that's another thing that was always incredibly, and I understand it, but always frustrating to me, again, when I was working with clients, is, you can't expect to meet these huge goals so quickly. You got to break them into small steps. And that's again, having small goals and then where the patience comes from. Okay. So if you're 400 pounds and your goal is to be 200 pounds, that's not going to happen tomorrow.
No, but that needs to be your goal. You keep that in mind.
Exactly. Wow. And it's probably not going to happen within a year either.
Right.
So what you need to focus on is, all right, I'm 400 pounds now. I want to be 375. Okay. And then once you're 375, can you guys see my cat behind me? Yeah. Okay. That's Bruce Wayne, by the way.
I'll accept it.
Right. Once you're 375, all right, I want to be 350. Then I want to be 300. Then 275. And that might take you 2, 3, 4 years. I mean, look, it didn't take you a month to go from 200 pounds to 400 pounds. It's not going to take you a month to go the opposite way.
Nope.
And look, I get it. It's frustrating. I completely understand. It seems like this dark, endless tunnel that there's just no end to, but, death, at the risk of being overly morbid here. But, it doesn't need to be that way. And it's just because, one, it takes patience. Like, it just does. I can't really sugarcoat it any other way than it just does. And two, just break it down into those small, achievable goals. So now you have something that you can say, hey, you know what? All right, 200 pounds is a lot. 25, I can do 25. And I can do it. I can do that in 6 months, maybe, as long as I now start, and then it's setting up a plan of how to get there. I start walking more. I go to the gym 3 times a day. 3 times a day, 3 times a week. Definitely don't go 3 times a day. And that actually, if I can keep rolling with this, ties me back into kind of jumping in, trying to do everything too fast, too soon, right now, sort of thing. And then if I touch back on my New Year's resolutioners when I was talking about that, it's so funny to watch all those people with brand new goals, new year, new me, blah, blah, blah. I hate that phrase, first of all. July 2nd, the gym it's a madhouse. There's people everywhere. It's loud. It's annoying. No one knows what they're doing. Every piece of equipment's taken up with some, dingbat who doesn't know what they're doing. And look, they're there for good reason. But
I like
it's a good word, right? It really rolls off the tongue. So here's someone who probably hasn't worked out since last March. And they come in, January 2nd. They're like, all right, I'm going 6 days a week for an hour and a half every day, blah, blah, blah. Like, no, that's why by February 13th, you hate it because you're burnt out. Like, you can't just dive in and expect everything to change right now. If you're brand new at something, if I'm brand new at trying to play the piano, I'm not going to throw some Mozart up there and, knock out his 18th symphony or whatever. I'm going to play Mary Had a Little Lamb. I'm going to probably play it with one finger, and I'm going to go like this.
I still type like that.
Yeah, so, typing's hard for cavemen. I don't know. But yeah, so you can't just dive right in and be like, I'm doing this all, I'm changing everything, blah, blah, blah. I always like to tell people, focus on one thing. So whether that's just going to the gym 3 times a week when you haven't gone to the gym in 6 months, that's goal 1. Do that for a month. And once that becomes part of your routine, now we can add something else. And you mentioned something like this before. I forgot what you were talking about. But it was changing, you setting up who you want to be. You said it was, just make sure, like, get a haircut or whatever. Like, it's one thing. It's something that's easy. You can control it. Go to the gym for a half hour 3 times a week. All right. Once that's part of your routine, once that's, that's part of who you are now we can bump it up. Maybe it's 4 times a week, or maybe you go for an hour each session, or maybe you look at, you're eating a little bit more. Maybe you focus on, all right, well, I'm going to go 3 times a week. And now I'm going to make sure that, I'm not going to have that Pop-Tart for breakfast. I'm actually going to get up and make myself an actual breakfast with food.
Or not eat. But that's
or not eat. Yeah, whatever. It's, however you try. I've actually been doing, not that I sidetracked here, but not that I call it intermittent fasting because it's just skipping breakfast. But I've been doing that actually for a while, and I won't eat until 11. And it's actually pretty good. I don't mind it.
Yeah, you feel awesome.
Yeah.
The whole thing with that.
Yeah,
that's for another day.
But go. So
Look, and I guess now we're talking about a society that really all of society needs this, but we're going into the extreme of let's say 400 pounds, but pick anything. Look, if you drink 6 sodas a day, just drink 5 for a month. Understand that's a win.
Yeah,
you're
absolutely.
winning, right? And we need to get back to a society that winning fucking matters, okay? Because when everybody just wants a participation trophy and everybody right, that's like me paying your rent or you paying mine. That's not okay. Understand that when you went from 6 sodas to 5, you fucking won.
Yeah.
You won that day, right? And there's a great guy that I used to listen to a long time ago, and I'm sure he's out there. Well, I know he's still out there, but I don't. Andy Frisella, right? His podcast is the MF CEO. Years ago, I used to listen to him. He has a thing called the Power List. Go find that episode, type it into the interwebs, find it, download it, re-listen to it. His whole premise, right? And a bunch of other people have this. I'm just familiar with his because I used to listen to him all the time. 5 critical tasks that you need to get done that day, right? That are going to advance you in life to the place you want to be, to that end goal, to that person you want to become, right? To that conqueror that we all have within, right? And I'm not gonna, and I think this is important too, right? Because we're 2 men, this can become a very masculine concept, right? We can talk about this.
Sure.
The feminine is way more powerful than we are. Let's just call that what it is. They can tap into something that is extraordinary, right? That literally takes a sperm and an egg and creates life. Now, I understand a man needs to be a part of it, whatever. You're creating
Hardly.
life. Right, hardly. For 9 months, you're a fucking badass. Understand that. You don't even want to tell you that. These principles apply for you too, right? It's not different. Find the woman you want to become. What does she look like? What does she do? Is she not suppressed by sexuality, right? Because all of society wants to suppress women's sexuality, but it's okay for a man to do it. Find out what that is and become that, right? Write it down every single morning. Become the badass within. It literally resides in you. If you do this, if you actually do what we're saying and you write this down and you sit there and think, this feeling is going to well up inside you that is so strong. That is your inner being, your goddess, your warrior, whatever you want to call it, crying to be expressed because you've beaten it into submission. Society has beaten this thing into submission, right? Have patience letting it out of its cage, but it is going to come out of its cage and it's going to be unbelievable when you let it out. You're capable of more than you've ever thought possible, whether you've been told that or not, and I know you hear that, whatever. You literally have no limits, right? And even people like you and I, we have no limits. We can push more. I'm not where I want to be. You're definitely not where you want to be. I'm definitely not where I want to be, right? There's more to achieve, right? And we can do this. And so what we've created is a society that looks up to these people. And I'll use Michael Jordan, for example, because that's kind of the thing right now, or else I'm behind whatever. But this thing that's the documentary on the Bulls, right? So everybody looks at that and makes Michael this unattainable thing. Now, he became what he is because he shut everything out, and that was it, right? Singularly focused, one goal. A lot of people don't want to become that. That's okay.
But you have to become that.
Right. Oh my God, no! We're doing it all the time. No one's doing it, right? Because it's not easy.
Maybe a handful of people who've achieved that type of greatness ever.
Right. Like I would argue that they didn't push that enough. But the point is, if you can head in that direction, and if you head in that direction, my God, what you can accomplish, because that's what everybody wants to accomplish. But you feel guilty taking time away from your family, taking time away from your children, or vice versa, or be that with your children, right?
Sure.
Like I did that. Perfect example. I had a child. She's amazing. I took 3 years. I did not focus my energy on business. I focused it on her and my family because those 3 years, her subconscious was wide open for me imparting everything that I could upon it. And she is a badass with purpose, and she'll fucking tell you that. And she's 3 because I am not raising a little bitch. It's not happening, right? Because the society doesn't need any more of that. We need powerful people that are going to take the next step and be like, I'm good. Like, I got this. I don't care who you think is awesome in politics, whether you think it's Donald Trump or who else, Biden or Bernie or whoever.
They all suck.
Right, whatever, right? We're looking for Bigfoot here.
Woo! But today you can believe it.
Yeah, that's right. Racco and Racco t-shirts.
Shameless plug.
But those people didn't get there by being weak, right? They got there by setting a goal for themselves and achieving that goal. The same way Michael Jordan did, the same way Kobe did, the same way TJ Watt did. Pick anybody. They didn't happen to fall upon this. They weren't born with more gifts than you. They weren't born with more abilities. That's a bullshit lie that you're told by society to keep you where you are. The reality is that Andrew Carnegie and Henry Ford developed the educational system because they needed worker bees. How does that make you feel when you find that out? It should make you feel like shit. right? Everybody wants to be like, wow, these guys were awesome. You're literally slaving away because they created a society for you to slave away at. What are you going to do to branch off of that? Like, those are the people I want to work with. Those are the people I want to stimulate. Let's create a society of warriors again, right? People that are willing to just cut throat to get to where they need to be. I don't know. Might be too harsh for some people, but that's okay.
It's a tough pill to swallow sometimes.
It is, right? And it's the same pill that you have to swallow with. You're not going to get to your goals overnight. You're not going to change your weight overnight. You have to absolutely have patience. It's a tough pill to swallow that health is a responsibility. And if you became sick with COVID, that you simply did not make that a responsibility. Period. I'm not going to sugarcoat it like everybody else. I don't feel guilty saying that, and I won't feel guilty saying that, right? I'll say it to anybody. Health is a responsibility. Freedom is a responsibility, right? We want to live in this free country, but we don't want any responsibilities. Give me a break. Which one is it, right? There's hundreds of thousands of people that are literally dying for your freedoms, for you to shove a McDonald's thing down your throat, right? We have this entire military that has created this utopia that we call America, right? With quotes and, all that kind of stuff. That's for a whole other day. But you have people sacrificing their lives so that you can shove McDonald's down your throat 6 times a day. But then that person comes back here and you want to tell them, well, I didn't feel like it was a responsibility of mine to take care of my health. So please wear a mask, even though you're in shape and you're super healthy because you were fighting in Iraq and Afghanistan and all over the world. But please put a mask on for me because, I just didn't feel like eating a salad. I don't know. Or don't eat a salad. Go on the carnivore diet. Who cares? Pick something. Anything. Just take a step in the right direction. But if you don't know where you're going, it will not work. I think our next one needs to be about goals. It has to be. Because if you don't,
this was almost about goals. It was like a half and half.
we need to lay the groundwork. Next week we're going to lay the groundwork of how to write a goal, how to seek the goal, and how to find the goal. Right? Like that. That's what we're going to do.
Are we locking that in? Is that it? Lock it in?
That's it. That's it. We'll talk about goals. It's too important, right? We literally have, and I'll talk about it next week, a system in our brain that is literally a goal-seeking organism, right? From now until next week, everybody listening, I want you to look for blue F-150s, right? Blue Ford F-150s. Count how many you see. You're going to see hundreds of them because now it's a goal in your reticular activating system, which is activated by your brain, and your brain is going to seek every chance it gets to find a blue F-150. The fact that you don't have goals for your life is hindering you immensely in anything and everything you want to achieve.
I dig it. I think that might be a good place to wrap it up.
Yep.
Unless you got more to say, but I think we hit the nail on the head there.
Adapt, have patience, and your health is your responsibility. We're laying a good foundation here. We're going to keep coming back.
Yeah, we'll come back and we'll just keep layering that onion. Parfait, whatever you want to call it. Yeah. So, dude, I dig it. And I think, next time, talk to my guy. We'll have a nice little logo. We've decided on a name. The doctor is in.
Ooh, he's in.
So I'll switch out the Racco Strength and Fitness. We'll have the Doctor's In logo right there, presented by Racco Strength and Fitness. And, we're rolling on all cylinders, man. So, as always, I appreciate you, phoning in. Keep doing what you're doing, man. You're a monster.
Thank you.
I love you and I miss you.
I miss you too.
All right, man.
Maybe we can have one of your wedding here soon.
Yeah, it's coming up in March.
No. Well, as long as I'm going to be there, COVID or no COVID, no mask. I'm going to be dancing, cutting a rug.
Cheers, man. Cheers. Take it easy.
All right, brother. I'll see you guys. See you at Twitterverse or whatever if anybody listens to us.
Later.
How do